Did China bend the knee because of Trump?
Trump met with Xi Jinping of China overnight, and I don't know about you guys, but the power dynamic here was bad for Trump. First off, this entire meeting and handshake, Xi did not look interested in Trump at all. They held a very awkward 30-second handshake, and Xi refused to answer any questions, refused to look at Trump or even talk to him. Xi continued to look away and be very uninterested at most of the time. Trump answered every question, glazing Xi, saying he's a great man, China's a strong country, you saw that. To make it even worse, Xi Jinping didn't smile a single time while Trump was all happy.
We're going to have a very successful meeting, I have no doubt. But he's a very tough negotiator. That's not good. We know each other well.
So you can obviously tell he's not a very big fan of Donald Trump, but how could he be? How could anybody be? Trump repeatedly and almost desperately kept saying we have a very great relationship, and then President Xi ignored him. Their meeting was, of course, a...
Watch this video all the way to the end. I would appreciate it. Chinese President Xi Jinping avoids eye contact with Donald Trump, only reading from the paper. Trump looks ready to listen, but Xi Jinping keeps dodging the glaze and the staring at the page. What do you guys think of this?
It's considered rude in most cases in Asian cultures when you hold eye contact when speaking to somebody. In Western cultures, holding eye contact represents confidence, which translates into trust. In most Asian cultures, it means I'm keeping a close eye on you, I don't trust you, and I challenge you. Plus, it makes them really uncomfortable. Most animals will find it uncomfortable too. Hold eye contact and they'll break it real quick.
When my American friend Mark first visited China, he walked into a restaurant, poured tea for himself, and everyone froze. I leaned over and whispered, "Mark, you never pour for yourself first." He looked puzzled. "Why?" I said, "It's not about tea, it's about respect. Welcome to China, where the most important rules are the ones nobody tells you. Age and position still matter, not for power, but for comfort. Greet the oldest or most senior person first. When toasting, keep your glass slightly lower than theirs. It's not submission, it's harmony."
Are you good at reading body language? If so, let's read this interaction.
We're going to have a very successful meeting, I have no doubt.
So Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping met today to talk about trade deals. And of course, Trump did his notorious handshake where it has to be on his side. At this point, it doesn't show power. It just shows that he's still playing these games. Then Trump does a stupid joke. He waits for it to be translated. It doesn't land.
But he's a very tough negotiator. That's not good.
And you can even see that Trump is actually trying. If you notice, the crow's feet around his eyes shows that he's trying to give a genuine smile. The hand behind Xi Jinping's back trying to give support or comfort. This is the I'm the good guy act. But do you think he's buying it? Well, we already know that this trip didn't go as planned because Trump came back saying that he wants to resume testing nuclear weapons. Ugh, that's not good. But of course, these are just my observations. You let me know if I miss anything in the comments. Also, please like and share.
Stop right here. I want to thank you for what you're doing, President Xi Jinping. Yes, we appreciate what you're doing. Especially me. Thank you very much. After you. Hey guys, Nina here. In case you don't know, I'm Nina. I do lip reading here on TikTok. Please do not take any of my lip readings for 100% truth or fact, as there's no way for me to know 100% if what I think is being said is actually being said. This clip comes from a very recent meeting that the United States President Donald Trump had with the Chinese President Xi Jinping. So sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I do know the meeting was about trade. And the meeting only reportedly lasted approximately an hour and 40 minutes. And yet Donald Trump came out of the meeting quoted saying that it was amazing and that it was a 12 out of 10. I feel as though there has been some bullying between the two countries as it relates to trade. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. Let me know how you think I did in the comments, and let me know what you want me to lip read next.
They don't call him Taco Trump for nothing. Look at him, just bowing down to President Xi. What did America get out of this that they didn't have 9 months ago? We're just going back to what it was before, and we're just going to pay a little extra now. America's still just going to be paying extra on these tariffs, and he's going to convince his followers that China's paying for the tariffs. That's where we're at. We're just back to where we were, plus America gets to pay more for goods. That's where we're at. And you think that America's just going to start making all of those goods here. Just buy American. That's going to be the answer. Taco Trump, salute. You really just outdid yourself. You're even just 12 out of 10. A 12 out of 10. Taco Trump.
Chinese media called this a routine state visit, while the White House posted hundreds of photos calling this a historic visit. And if you're wondering what the US got out of this, not a lot. Trump posted a long Truth Social basically saying China agreed to buy more soybeans. Xi apparently didn't have a lot to offer to Trump whatsoever, and it shocked the US. Who's the bigger and more powerful country? Comment below and what you think.
Trump just wrapped up a trip through Asia, meetings, dinners, trade talks, and by the time he sat down with President Xi, the table was already flipped. Before that meeting, he wasn't sightseeing. He was circling China's borders: Malaysia, Cambodia, Thailand, Vietnam, Japan, South Korea. Every stop came with new trade and energy deals that pulled those countries closer to the United States and further away from Beijing. You see what he was doing? He built leverage before the conversation even started. Real strategy, not slogans. Then came the November 1st deadline: 100% tariffs on Chinese imports unless they stopped the fentanyl flow and opened up fair trade. So when Xi finally sat down, China wasn't negotiating from power anymore. They were surrounded, boxed in by their own neighborhood, now trading with the US instead. And suddenly, the tone changed. China agreed to buy American soybeans and rare earth minerals, and even start talks on US oil and gas, not out of generosity, out of pressure. And while Democrats complain he should have stayed home to focus on the shutdown, they're missing the point. He went to Asia to build new routes, cut our dependence on a communist monopoly, protect our security, and bring jobs back home. That's not chaos, that's leadership. And it's how you make America strong again.
President Xi and President Trump just met. But what do Chinese people actually think about it? I checked Chinese version of TikTok, which is Douyin, and most comments are surprisingly positive. People hope the two biggest economies can cooperate instead of clash. For example, someone from Jiangxi said, peaceful coexistence is the way forward. And a user in Guangdong said, may China and the US see common ground and grow together. Chinese citizens also noticed one small detail after the meeting, which is that Trump personally walked Xi to his car. I don't know why, but this small gesture went viral on Chinese social media. Maybe many people saw it as a sign of respect. But it's clear Chinese people want peace, not conflict. After the meeting, both sides reached several trade agreements. First, the US will remove the extra 10% fentanyl tariffs on Chinese goods, and other tariffs stay suspended for another year. And second, both sides will post new export controls for a year. And third, the US will also post investigations into China's shipping and logistics industry, and China will respond in kind. Besides, they also agreed to cooperate on fentanyl control, expand farm trade, and handle TikTok issues properly. So, I'm also curious, how do you as Americans see this meeting between Xi and Trump? I'm Kitty Tom, bringing more perspectives from the East. Talk to you later.
So US is taking away the 100% tariff on Chinese goods, which is a huge win for both countries. This is from CNN Business. According to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, the 100% tariff on Chinese goods are effectively off the table. So for US consumers and US markets, the consumers will not get price hikes. There's no immediate inflation wave, so it's a win for the US. Companies like Walmart, Amazon, they don't need to worry too much about their inventory anymore. You know, it's gonna be Christmas. People need those cheap Chinese goods. I've never been to US, but I know one thing is that US people love Christmas. If you ruin Christmas for them, it's gonna be the end of the world. It's a win for Chinese companies who are doing like exporting, overseas exporting. US is still like a huge market. It will be a huge loss for any company to give that market up.
So the TikTok deal, China has responded. They said they are willing to work with the US on any TikTok related issues, but no deal. There has been no TikTok deal. Stop making fake videos saying there's been a TikTok deal. Nope. 2 hours ago, October the 30th, it is now 8:23 in the morning. No TikTok deal. Shut up.
The relationship between China and the US is widely viewed as the most consequential bilateral relationship in the world. After all, the two nations combined are home to over 40% of the global GDP. The in-person talks came after 3 phone conversations and several exchanges of letters between the two presidents since Trump was re-elected. The latest round of China-US consultations in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, where the two economic and trade teams reached a consensus on solving various issues, has provided the necessary conditions for this meeting. And the reason they met in ROK is that President Xi is attending the 32nd APEC Economic Leaders Meeting in Gwangju, paying a state visit to the ROK. Trump appeared and gave a speech at the APEC CEO Summit, but he did not attend the APEC Economic Leaders Meeting. During the meeting, President Xi said, "The world today is confronted with many tough problems. China and the US can jointly shoulder our responsibility as major countries and work together to accomplish more great and concrete things for the good of our two countries and the whole world." She also said, "Given our different national conditions, we do not always see eye to eye with each other, and it is normal for the leading economies of the world to have frictions now and then. But China and the United States should be partners and friends. That is what history has taught us and what reality needs." An annual membership survey from the US-China Business Council released in July found that more than 80% of the American companies doing businesses in China were profitable last year, and said they will remain committed to pursuing opportunities in China over the long term. They also reached a new consensus on tariffs and export controls. I will explain that in the next video. I'm Li Jingjing, now in Gwangju in the Republic of Korea. Subscribe!
You're hearing about trade talks with China, but let's take this back to 1993. When Michael Jordan had just won the championship with the Bulls, Cindy Crawford was on the cover of Vogue magazine, and this guy was president, Bill Clinton. And starting in 1993, Bill Clinton had this whole grand scheme with respect to bringing China into the global economy. It was a strategic wager. Bill Clinton thought that by bringing China into the web of global economic institutions, that the Chinese Communist Party would be constrained, that China's economy would be transformed, and ultimately China would become a more liberalized country, maybe even bringing some democratic practices into China. He said that bringing China into the World Trade Organization, which basically would mean that it trades like all developed nations, Europe, Australia, those kind of countries, that this would be an unprecedented economic victory for the United States, Clinton said. And if it were a game, the score would be 100-0 in favor of the United States by bringing China into the WTO. Clinton liked to say in speeches that liberty is the most contagious force in the world. And Clinton brought other allies to the table. European Union, Japan, Canada, all unanimously supported China coming into the WTO. There were union leaders who were saying that this was going to be a mistake. They said it was going to cost America jobs, particularly manufacturing jobs, particularly in the American heartland. And there were some Republicans that were saying this. At the time, they were dismissed as being mercantilistic. And then in 2000, it happened. Clinton got it, and China became a member of the World Trade Organization. Problem was that the assumptions about political liberalization and a balanced economic relationship with China proved to be profoundly wrong. US-China trade did explode after 2001. It resulted in lower prices for American consumers and soaring profits for multinational corporations that leveraged Chinese manufacturing. But the period that followed was called the China shock on the American economy. A rapid and devastating wave of import competition hollowed out the nation's industrial base, Bill Clinton. Today, Senators like Tom Cotton call it a disaster for the American economy. Instead of weakening the CCP, the boom that was unleashed by WTO membership provided it with unprecedented resources to subsidize the creation of more manufacturing dominance. You can see here that here's 2000. Look at China's manufacturing. Boom! Look at US manufacturing. Today, China, this is the manufacturing output of China. This is bigger than the combined manufacturing output of India, Germany, and the United States. Combined, thanks, Bill Clinton. Today, pharmaceuticals like ibuprofen, 95% of them are manufactured in China. They dominate rare earths and critical minerals. Look at the solar panel creation. The solar cells, almost 80% of the world's solar panels are made in China. So if you want to go green and get more solar panels, you know where to buy them. Battery manufacturing, another part of the green energy revolution. 70% of that stuff is made in China, only 10% in the US. So Bill Clinton made a wager. His decision to bring China into the WTO is the direct line that can be drawn from the consequences of that decision to the geopolitical realities of today, where this guy is now president, Donald Trump, meeting Xi Jinping, hoping there's a way that America can have a manufacturing renaissance. And people agree, it's a tall order.
How is it about this compilation? I've also seen comments of people speaking of President Xi not being able to speak in English. But I also saw comments from Chinese that says that in every official meeting, their president has to speak in Mandarin because that's the official language. Yeah, in Chinese, Mandarin. I don't know the difference though. So that was it about this compilation. From what I'm observing, I don't know if the same idea of making America great again that MAGA supporters have is the same as what the president is picturing. Because from the look of things, I am looking at America as a place where things have to be restructured. I don't know if this is the way that their president is going to restructure everything. Food stamp being cut away, and it will reach a time where the only job that Americans will have to do will be the same job they had to ship to China for cheap labor. And if they don't see that in that perspective, greatness will not come with power and intimidation. Greatness will come with strength, with hard work. That's how greatness will be built. Greatness won't come with everyone being slapped with, I don't know, Bill bailed out, that would I would say, with billions of dollars and then everyone will become rich and America will be great. No, America will go back to the work that they longed, neglected for that greatness to occur. I don't know if MAGA is sharing the same idea as their president, because that's what I'm reading from all this. I don't know what you think about this compilation. It's been informative. I don't want to keep it longer than this. I would go on and on and on. There's so many clips I couldn't exhaust in this one video. Like the video for recommendations, subscribe if you're new here, share your thoughts in the comment section. I love and appreciate your interaction. I apologize for speaking in the background. These days I've been working on something and I'm almost done. Next week, like starting this next month, I hope to get back to interacting with you with my face, you know. Yeah, I miss that a lot. Goodbye for now. Appreciate you.